Welcome back to KK Cabaret, where we talk things vintage, fashion, sewing, crafting, and all of the things in between. I am going to be introing the vlog to me making probably what is the most expensive dress I've ever made thus far in my sewing journey. And even with buying the fabric like on sale with a coupon code or something whenever the heck I bought it, I think it was like a few years ago. It is with Liberty Lawn, Neon Betsy, I believe, or Neon Betty. I will make sure that I let you guys know what it is. I was influenced to buy that fabric by Gertie in a video that she had posted. I don't know if it was that one specifically, but I remember her talking about Liberty Lawn, and I think the one that she was using had lilac or lavender in it, and I went on Duckadilly at the time and I found this one, which I thought was more exciting. And yeah, the fabrics are exciting. They're just very expensive, and I'm not gonna lie, they're out of a lot of people's price range. They are always out of my price range. I want to say I bought this when life was a little bit more cozy, and I would not be able to purchase it again. That being said, that makes this project that I'm about to show you guys a little bit more precious for me because I love being able to use my stash fabric for magnificent things. And that's why it's great to have a stash. So I get to show you guys my nervousness, first off, in making this dress. Second off, just like the accomplishment of how beautiful I feel like it all came out. And I'm really glad that I'm using stash fabrics. Like I'm not shopping for something new. I am going through what I have here and making beautiful things out of what I have, which is great because obviously I had good taste. I am going through what I had, you know? And I want to inspire you guys to go through what you have. I do not think I have any more expensive types of fabrics in my stash, but I thought that this was special for this year's Me Made May, considering I think we could all use a little bit of joy. In the economic climate these days just doesn't make us feel very joyous. So this made me have some joy. It's not a vintage inspired make, really. It was, I think, a bohemian style designer. I'm not going to quote that. Don't quote me on that. I feel like she's an indie designer, and it's the first time I've ever made a pattern from her. And I will get onto the vlog, and then we will do the outro where I talk about everything. I'll be right back. Hi. Okay, sewing vlog, catch up. Like, I don't even know if I've created an intro for this yet, but it's going to be on Friday, and I'm hoping to have 2 pieces done by Friday. But I just cut out my Millie dress out of the Liberty Lawn. I measured everything out. I've cut everything out. I even had enough scraps to do the hat, but there is nothing, like, I mean slivers of fabric left. So I have one shot. Why do I do this to myself? I did not ever make a toile except for the bodice toile. Yeah, I'm literally gonna fly by the seat of my pants and hope that this comes out nicely. I think it will. Like I said, I decided to make the size 14, and we are just gonna see how she comes out. I have one shot. I don't have money to buy more Liberty Lawn either because I was in a position where I could buy it back then when I bought this. I am in no position now. Anyways, like I said, I'm not in the position that I was in before when I bought this, so I cannot buy more if I mess it up, but I think I'm gonna be fine. I'm going to assemble the skirt first, and it is comprised of 3 tiers. And 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 pieces. Then I will work on the bodice once I have assembled the skirt. Since I've already made the bodice and it was very simple, I am going to do that. Like I said, it has an underarm zip on the left-hand side. So yeah, I mean, pretty basic stuff. Dress assembly, if you know how to assemble a dress, it's pretty easy. And most of it's finished with bias tape. And I did acquire all the bias tape that I needed for this. It's just been sitting, so I figured this week, and it's Tuesday, this week I will do the Millie dress and then the play suit out of the spiderweb fabric. Since I was using the same color fabric for the lining, I just kept it out and cut everything today. And I've cut the spiderweb one over the weekend, so I'm pretty excited. Let's get these projects underway. Okay. So I have finished the skirt. I assembled all the pieces and I basted them together. And it is a lot more dress than I thought it was. Like in the picture, it doesn't look like a maxi dress. I thought it was like a midi dress, but I have to show you guys. I'm gonna try to prop my phone up right here real quick. Excuse any messes you may see. Oh, poop. Let me see. No, that's not gonna work. So I'm like trying it on just to make sure the waist is right. Let me see, I'm gonna put you guys, I'm so sorry, this is not professional. Put you guys right here, maybe. Oop. Okay. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? I know that there's a light behind me because this is the door, but I mean, it is really flowy. It doesn't have the bias tape on yet. It's super magical. It's just a lot longer than I thought it would be. So I'm gonna do the bodice and yeah, we're gonna see where we're at. Okay, so I've already done some headway. I did stop after I made the bodice yesterday and pinned the bias tape to the neckline. I stopped, and then today I attached the bodice to the skirt and I put the zipper in. So the dress is assembled and now it's just all about miles and miles of bias tape. But I messed up by not buying pink thread. I have the orchid thread. I don't have the pink thread in order to sew the bias tape on. And I could use the orchid thread, but I don't want that much of a contrast because what if my stitching looks horrible? So I have to go and buy a thread that matches the bias tapes. And I already have the orchid thread, so that'll work for the bias tapes. But I thought I would show you a little update, moving chairs and stuff, on how the dress looks. And excuse me if you can see my puppers or anything like that. Okay. It looks so frilly and girly, and all of these are going to have a different layer of bias tape. So I have pink bias tape going along the neckline. So the next layer I'm going to do orchid, then I'm going to do pink, then I'm going to do orchid. Isn't it so cute? I'm so glad that I held out for something that would look that magnificent with the Liberty, because I think it really is going to be a stunner when it's like twirling and stuff. I'm just a little nervous about the bias tape because it's like all these scalloped edges, and I've seen people having a little bit of issues with that. I am using cotton bias tape. Maybe that'll help. It's not polyester, so it's not like stiff, but we'll see. So once I'm done doing the bias tape and hand sewing in, you know, the finishings on the inside, the dress is going to be ready to be worn. So today I've got to go to the yarn store, Michael's. Thank God they started carrying sewing supplies because I can go pick up some thread. And I'm just going to cut a little piece of this, put it in my purse, and get some thread. Okay, so I bring a swatch when I'm looking for thread. This is my little bias tape swatch. There's a lot of different pinks, but I landed on 2 to choose between. And it was a hard choice. Ella and a lady that I asked actually helped me make the choice. Then I realized I'm going to look at some cotton yarn for a plan I had, because I had so many vouchers. Look, guys, I only paid $4. So I just got back from Michael's. I ended up getting the darker pink thread. I had someone help me, a lady in the store. I was like, do you see a difference between these two threads and this, you know, binding? And she was like, I think this one. I scored all this cotton yarn for free because I had a $30, well, I had $30 worth of Michael vouchers and I used them all. I didn't even know I could stack them. I basically just paid for the thread. I paid for the thread, got 5 skeins of yarn for free, and I have a little like summery project that I'm gonna do with those, so I'm very, very excited. But for now, sewing. I must finish this dress and then get onto my summer ween sewing, which will be a whole nother video completely. I was gonna do them all at once, but then I was like, you know what? We'll do summer ween and then I'll release this one. So you guys will have seen summer ween or spring ween. You guys will see that one, have seen that one already. This one is gonna come out the week after. So I'm sorry for any confusion. I did want to mention I'm wearing these cute little skein earrings or hank earrings. I don't know what we want to call them, but they're so cute. I got them when I was on the yarn crawl. I love them. I'm very excited. I have my pink yarn, my pink thread. Let's get to sewing miles upon miles of binding. I did it. I finished the dress. I just finished threading in the ties. I did make alterations. I don't know if I'll remember to mention these alterations when I do like my big reveal, so I'm just gonna mention them really quick. I added about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches to the bottom of the bodice, so to the waist, because it sat really high and pretty much just came up under my boobs, so I didn't want that. And it calls for you to open up the bias binding and sew it down for the casing. What I did instead was I bought cotton quilting binding and I just went around it that way. I just feel like it's a little bit more sturdy. And yeah. Okay, update on my Millie dress. I tried it on and guys, I sewed it to pattern. I still don't like the way that the bust looks. The bust looks baggy, like I have no bust or no waist. And my partner is like, well, that's the type of dress it is. And I was like, no, on me, it just looks frumpy. So I might have to take it apart. I am thinking of just taking in under the bust like I was planning on doing before. I didn't want to mess anything up, but now I'm just like, ugh, I can't wear it. I have spent all that money in the past, but it's expensive fabric and I want this dress to make me happy when I wear it. So I'm about to try it on again and fix it. I fixed it without taking it fully apart. I just added some bust darts to the front, like the under bust darts. And I feel like even though it's not perfect, it's still wearable and I can wear it like this. Like I would wear this. I just really didn't like it before and I would not have worn it at all. I know, and which would suck. I would cry. Now I just got to figure out how to make the gathering happen in the drawstring. Once I figure that out, I think it'll be perfect for the reveal.
Okay, the lighting is really bright, but I wanted you guys to see how beautiful this dress flows, and it's like the prettiest, frilliest thing I've ever made. I did end up making a cute little bag to pull it into the spring-a-ween for Me Made May. And I made a sun hat with extra fabric, like whatever extra fabric was left. And it doesn't flip like I like them to. Gosh darn it. But it's still such a cute sun hat. I did a different view in less direct sunlight so you could see the colors of the dress and how I did the different layers of coloring. Also, you can see the color of the hat better in this picture. The beautiful spiderweb purse, and look at these floofy layers, guys. Ugh, this is such a girly outfit and I'm really in love with all of it. What do you guys think? A little bit of an up close of this beautiful bag. It's vintage inspired, it's spiderweb inspired if you can't tell, but it's also very girly and spring-a-weeny. The purse handles are vintage lucite handles that I've had.
Okay, we're back. What did you guys think? I think that it came out amazing. I'm obsessed with it. I wanted to wear it all day, but the weather right now is not very permittable. It was nice for video, although it was like direct sunlight because I think I had filmed right after work where it was like noon and 1 o'clock, something like that. And the sun was just like beaming on me, which sucks because you can't really see the colors of the dress. So I took some extra pictures. I'll either pop them in or I'll have done a you know, montage of videos and stuff. But I'm glad I used this special fabric. The pattern itself, I have it. I own it. I can play with it now. So would I make it again? I'm not going to make it again anytime soon, but I feel like I can mess with it and definitely play with it. I will show you a few things that I did with it. Here's my beautiful dress. I honestly love the weight of this fabric as well, because I feel like if I would have done this with quilting cotton, it would have been much heavier, maybe not as a joy to wear. I know I was telling you guys, I did the bias binding that was actually a cotton quilting binding. So it goes around like that, and I feel like I like that effect a little bit more. I really like these colors. I did the, you know, two-toned bias tape finishings. I did lengthen the bodice, and then I ended up having to kind of take in for the bust, but in the end, in the videos and everything, you can see it doesn't affect the look or the shape or the action that this dress is supposed to give, you know? Next, what you can't really see in the videos is this hat. So the hat is my favorite pattern closet core sun hat. My only gripe is the only interfacing I had at the time was this double-sided fusible interfacing, and it's very thick. It is made for a hat. It's meant to be for a hat, which makes it like the perfect like sun hat for gardening. I look like a little old lady right now. But because of it, it made it kind of hard to sew around these edges to put it back together. So I ended up using like a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and I feel like it made it a little bit bubbly at the top, you know, but you know, whatever. But you couldn't see, like, you still can't see. I think it's this color. It is like an orchid color, and then this is that pink, the end of the pink bias binding. So like I like to use as much of my supplies as possible, and this hat definitely took what was left that was good of that Liberty fabric and a good amount of my lining fabric that ended up being some of my favorite colors. I really do love these colors together. Yeah, so the hat is hopefully over time going to get a little bit more bendable, but what I love to do with these hats is do the little like 90s thing, and you can't do it in this one. I'm hoping it gets a little bit more flexible over time, but we'll see. If not, it is a really good sun hat. I love how far down it comes around my face. My mom is always like, well, you're always in hats anyway. When I'm outside, I always wear visors and hats because I'm very pale, and a lot of people in my family have had skin cancer, so I am very proactive about that. Lastly, my little addition to this outfit that brings it into my spring-a-ween collection. I know it's Me Made May, so that's why I wanted to get this done in Me Made May, but I needed something, right? Because this is not spooky. It's very bright and very spring and summer colors, which I love. But I needed something spooky to bring it in. And this is vintage inspired. And I will talk more about this also in an upcoming video. But I just wanted to show that I designed this to look like a spider web. I did see a vintage picture of a purse shaped like this on Pinterest and decided to kind of go with that look. I literally can't believe the things that I come up with out of my brain. I built this out of cardboard. It is lined with the, can we see? Maybe not. It's lined with the spiderweb fabric. I don't even think we can see. Hold on. Woo! Let's see if we can see in here. See it? Do we see it? Okay, it's lined with the spiderweb fabric. I actually didn't put like any type of closures, and I kept it in this boxy shape because I feel like we could just drop our phone in there, take our phone out. It's an easy type thing. These are vintage lucite handles that I had. yeah, guys, the things I come up with my brain, but I cannot figure out taxes or, you know, anything else that adults are supposed to know about. I put my beautiful little brooch that was given to me by Danielle from the Cobweb Casket. I put that on there just to add to the spiderweb vibes. I love it. I've gotten, my whole family can't believe that I do these things, and I really can't either. It just comes out of my head. If it pops in my head, I need to create it right away. So this is, I know I probably put on the screen like how much the fabric costs and everything. I think for the pattern itself probably costed around $30 because I paid for the pattern, I paid to get it printed, and I paid to get it shipped. I did not trace this pattern. I cut it right out of the paper because it is gigantic and it is a lot of paper, and I don't have like tracing paper that big. I use parchment paper from Target. So I just cut it out. I feel like if I need to make alterations, I will make alterations in fabric or something. I'm pretty, or I would have it reprinted and resent in one specific size now that I know how it goes. Anyways, though, I do enjoy the dress now that it is done, and I can't wait to like go to a tea party or something with my mom and my girls and just enjoy, because that's my mom's favorite color, the lavender and purple. When I was making it, I was really thinking of an event to do with her. So I am thinking of having like a vintage tea party with my mom and my daughters this spring before we hit summer. So summer is June 21st. Things to look forward to on the channel. Friday, my final piece that I am making for Spring-a-Ween, my Spring-a-Ween edition, and Me Made May, is going to be a wrap blouse. So look out for that on Friday. I'm very excited about that because it's also the Jester core that I'm kind of going with, Spring-a-Ween Jester core. And I am very excited about that. It's a pattern I've never made before, so it's going to be fun. Then I think after that, I think it's June. And so I would like to, in June, do a how far did I come? Is half the year is over. So how am I going on my goals, my vision board, everything, plans for the future and whatnot. And then I am going to have like a knitting podcast or like a fiber arts podcast. That's what they call them here on YouTube. But it's just to go over like all the things that I've made so far in the fiber arts so that I could kind of just keep all of that. Since fiber arts go a little slower, I'll keep that compartmentalized there, and then I'll keep this into like the vintage vlogs and vintage sewing and vintage styling type stuff. Yeah, so that's what we're looking for in the future. Please subscribe and like and hype and all that fun stuff. And I will see you guys on Friday. I'll see you on Friday. We're almost halfway through the year and I can't believe it. I love you all so much.